morning. Today is Monday, December 8th, 2014, and this is Before the First Cup with Zorie and Lady Pitbull on UCY.TV. Good morning, lady.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, cold.
Oh my god, I just got here. Under the wire. Oh my god.
You're becoming a Jules.
I kind of am. Wow.
Mondays are always rough. I don't know. You just get out of the talk mood, I guess, or something. Never get up early. It's harder and harder. I didn't get to bed till 1, but I feel pretty good for not getting too much sleep.
Yeah, I only got like a couple hours the night before. I think that's why.
Oh, yeah. I kind of took it easy this weekend.
Me too. Yeah, I definitely did. Most assuredly. Especially since I had a raging hangover last weekend.
It takes me about a week to get over my hangovers, so I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, I'm starting to lean that way too, and I just bought a bunch of booze too. But I guess when the lights go out, people will be looking for booze, so...
Oh no, it'll be a good bartering tool.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's your reason for it. Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we had our protest this weekend.
Oh, you did?
Well, yeah. The 5th? Yeah, Friday. And we had a pretty good turnout considering it was raining and all. But the Record Searchlight, which we were there, I'm going to read you this little bit about what they wrote. It says, about that protest. I have no doubt that that most of the folks who came out in the light rain Friday to protest the Record Searchlight before heading over to KRCR Channel 7 have sincere intentions. They truly believe that the government and the United States is spraying poison from the sky and, in words of the leader Dane Winnington of Bella Vista, hastening the collapse of civilization. Why the collapse of civilization would benefit the elite spraying the stuff, who already have the money and power in the current civilization, is beyond me. But never mind that. The protesters are truly baffled as to why legitimate media outlets won't cover the issue as if it were real. I love a good protest on public property, although I didn't appreciate them packing into the lobby at one point and harassing the folks who worked at the front counter and have nothing to do with the news decisions. Thankfully, they returned to the sidewalk. The fact is, I'm not at all certain that the government isn't doing secret things that would outrage us all if we knew about them. Government officials bring such suspicion on themselves with their denials of actual programs such as NSA's domestic spying and their paranoid efforts to dismantle transparency and shut out the public and news media from routine federal business. But the conspiracy that by nature would have to involve at least thousands of people, both government and civilians, poisoning themselves and their families and loved ones over a period of many years, and that no one has ever broken ranks and disclosed. There are lots of things discussed on Coast to Coast AM, but they aren't the kinds of things a newspaper of record should spend its resources chasing down, or to which it ought to lend unearned legitimacy, with all due respect. So, what a jerk. You know, I mean, in there he admits that the government does evil things and stuff, but he just will not see the fact that the geoengineering's happening. It's that bias that...
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, most people like just keeping their heads in the sand. It doesn't affect them, you know?
Yeah. Well, we got good video. The one at the KRCR, both of the assistant director and director, I think it was, came out. And this one guy asked him, he goes, you know, why don't you cover it? And the guy goes, well, you know, news comes up and all this, and we just report on certain things. And the guy said, well, we had over 400 people at the Board of Supervisors meeting, and you don't count that as newsworthy? And all the guy said was, well, there's a lot of things we don't cover. That was his answer.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. It's almost like they're afraid to come out and say anything because it is newsworthy when we have the largest meeting in Reading's history at the Board of Supervisors, and that's not newsworthy. You know, it's crazy. And the guy's right. It does take thousands of people to be involved in this.
Yeah, it does. I mean,
all the planes worldwide.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
They just keep their heads in the sand. So.
And reporters are notorious for, really skewing things. So,
yeah. And I don't know, they too, I mean, even a little town like this, I'm sure they're told what they can talk about and what they can't.
Oh, absolutely. You gotta be, yeah. Oh my God, that's huge. I mean, they can't just go out there and just say anything. It's even a little town like this here, they've got their little valve controls in place, believe me.
Mm-hmm. And the one guy that came out, he talked to one person, but in the record searchlight, you wouldn't know that this was about geoengineering. He never mentioned it. He said, "Oh, spraying poison." But
are you kidding me?
No, I am not kidding. That's all he mentioned. You heard.
How did he cover the story? That doesn't make sense. That's weird.
It's an editorial. And it was the second half. Like the first half was on something else. Then it just put on the protest was all that it was labeled.
Weird.
Yep. Because my friend of mine, my landlady called me and said, didn't you protest at the Record Searchlight? And I went, yeah. And she goes, well, I can't find anything in the paper about it. But Dane sent me that part, and it's because it's not really titled anything to do with geoengineering or anything, really. It's just on the protest.
Weird, man. That is crazy.
Yeah. And Dane and them, I think they have their video up by now. And you'll see there were a lot of people out there. 2 people wearing gas masks. That was cool. And, yeah. So
that's good. Yeah,
and it shows that one paper's interviewing the director when he said, oh, well, we don't report on a lot of things. But at least they took the literature that we gave them. And they stayed out and talked with us, and we're talking to the different people and listening. Where the Record Searchlight, he talked to one guy and kind of huffed out of there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. I don't know,
yeah,
man. People are nuts. And once people get it in their head that these are all just conspiracy theorists, there's really nothing.
Or they're told,
Or they're told,
don't
right?
report on this, period.
Yeah.
No matter how much is put out there.
Yeah, exactly. How much truth is put out there. Yeah, that's how it works,
Well, we'll just keep on.
Yeah.
You gotta see the truth sometime.
Exactly.
Wow. And he says, there's no proof. I mean, how much proof does it take? Francis has all those readings and stuff that, and on the mountain where it can't come from anywhere but the sky, the aluminum. At an elevation of 1,400 feet, there's nothing up there but the sky.
Yeah, exactly. So where the hell does all that come from?
Mm-hmm. But no, they won't. They won't address facts, And in that whole article, he never once hit on any facts. So
of course not. Guy's too busy, got his head up his butt.
Yeah. And the first part of his article was on the homeless, of course, and how they shouldn't be out on the streets.
Where the hell are they supposed to go?
Right, when you've taken away their home.
Oh my God, what a freaking fruitcake this guy is.
I've never read any of this guy's articles. I think he's new to the paper up here, too.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So they have their little scripts, and that's all there is to it, and they are not going to divvy from it.
Right. Oh my
So,
God. Well,
yeah.
do you got anything else? Because I've got to, like, visit the little girl's room real
Yeah.
quick.
Okay,
After
I
I
have
announce
this
it on the
one.
radio.
Okay. Because there's been a lot more police involved shootings. So you go for that and I'll read this one article.
Thank you.
Um, mhm. It says statistics lacking in debate over police behavior. And this is from, let me move up. This is from the Associated Press. Ferguson, Missouri, Cleveland, Ohio, Staten Island, New York, uh, Etowahville, South Carolina. In each place, individuals, all unarmed except for a child carrying a pellet gun, died at the hands of police officers. All of the dead were black, all the officers involved white. Too many Americans, it feels like a national tidal wave. And yet, no firm statistics can say whether this spat of officer-involved deaths is a growing trend or simply a series of coincidences generating a deafening buzz in the news reports and social media. We have a huge scandal in that we don't have an accurate count of the number of people who die in police custody, says Samuel Walker, professor of criminal justice at the University of Nebraska at Omaha, and a leading scholar on policing and civil liberties. That's outrageous. There are some raw numbers, but they're of limited value. The FBI's Uniform Crime Reports, for instance, tracks justifiable police homicides. There were 1,688 between 2010 and 2013. But the statistics rely on voluntary reporting homicides. Reported by local law enforcement agencies and are incomplete. Circumstances of deaths and other information such as age and race also are required. The Wall Street Journal, detailing its own examination of officer-involved deaths at 105 of the nation's 110 largest city police departments, reported last week that federal data failed to include or mislabeled hundreds of fatal police encounters. Put simply, it's hard to know for certain what is going on on the ground. We want a comprehensive picture so people can be aware of what really goes on and not the claptrap but put out by people with agendas, says David Klinger, a professor of criminology at the University of Missouri, St. Louis, who has studied use of deadly force and hopes to get funding for a pilot project that could provide better national statistics. To those who have taken to the streets to protest in recent weeks, that lack of context is almost beside the point. These are communities that have been living for generations under the yoke of what has felt like an occupying force, says Philip Goff, co-founder of UCLA's Center for Policing Equality. And regardless of what any of the stats are ever going to say, if we don't address the reality of that experience, then we're shooting ourselves in the foot in our attempt to make good on our promise of domestic principles. The high-profile cases have erupted one after the other. On July 17th, 43-year-old Eric Garner died after officers tried to arrest him on suspicion of selling untaxed cigarettes in New York. Cell phone video captured the scene as one officer wrapped his arm around Garner's neck and the black man repeating, "I can't breathe." Tensions escalated on August 9th when Officer Darren Wilson fatally shot unarmed 18-year-old Michael Brown in St. Louis suburb of Ferguson. On November 22nd, a Cleveland officer shot and killed a 12-year-old Tamar Rice after responding to reports of an armed man in a city park. Rice has been holding a pellet gun. 2 days later, officials announced that a grand jury had declined to return an indictment in the Brown case. And then they had the riots. Then grand jury in Orangeburg County, South Carolina, returned a murder indictment Wednesday against a former small-town police chief in the May 2011 shooting death of an unarmed man. Richard Combs, who was the sole officer for the town of Etowville, had been charged with official misconduct for shooting Bernard Bailey, who had come to the town hall to argue about a ticket his daughter had received. Combs' attorney questioned the prosecutor David Pickles' motives in seeking the murder charge. He's trying to make it racial because his timing is perfect. John O'Leary said he's got all the national issues going on, so they want to drag him, Combs, in and say, look what a great community we have here, because we're going to put a police officer who was doing his job in jail for 30 years. That's wrong. Walker, co-author of the book The Color of Justice, Race, Ethics, Ethnicity, and Crime in America, says much of the anger out there comes from years of conflict between black community and law enforcement. Within the African American community, there has been an experience of disrespect, offensive language, mistreatment of terms, of stops, and so on, he says, and there's a sense that the police are out to get them. It's not just the killings that have minority communities fed up, says Enamaya Chedier of the New York University Law School Brennan Center for Justice. African American communities are tired of being over-policed, over-prosecuted, sent to prison, having men taken away from their communities, having families broken, says Cheddar, director of the Center's Justice Program. I think there's much more than just an instinctual sense that there is something amiss in the communities. I think people are tired of tough on crime. Whether such incidents are on the rise, says Walker, we're certainly more aware, and certainly the digital revolution has had a huge impact. Goff compares it to the ice bucket challenge phenomena of this past summer, in which a series of viral videos raised millions of dollars for research into atopic lateral sclerosis or Lou Gehrig's disease. Once something is trending so that it's in the American consciousness, people become aware of it, he says. The reason we're hearing about this is because we're hearing about it. It has its own momentum. Gulf has begun work on creating a police database with funding from the Department of Justice, the National Science Foundation, and private groups. He says it would include not just details, but all police stops and uses of force. Okay, and this goes on quite a ways more. But just as that's coming out, then I see, I looked, and there's another one here. Officer's body cam was turned off. And when he killed this man, what happened was 26-year-old Ty Worthington was killed last week by Salt Lake City, Utah police. And now the unnamed officer who killed him is saying his body camera was not on during the situation. According to a local news article, the department is currently testing and evaluating 3 body cameras. Because of short battery life, they are not turned on routine calls. The officer who shot him is on administrative leave. Officer Sam Winkler of the South Jordan Police Department said, the officer confronted Mr. Worthington in a horse corral, and during the confrontation, multiple shots were fired. Ty showed up to the house of family members after being kicked out the place, and they called the police on him. He then ran to a neighbor's yard and was found hiding in a horse corral. All we know is he was shot and killed, and the police allegedly recovered a small handgun next to him while the officer's camera was off. Okay, there's one. I mean, I don't think this is just, our reporting them all of a sudden. And then another one happened on December 7th, yesterday. Man dies after being shot by police in Hollywood near Walk of Fame. Now, this one, I watched the video. And the video, all it shows is this guy laying in the middle of the street with two cops with their guns still out and still pointing at him. He's not moving. And then another cop comes over and pulls his gun and joins him at pointing the gun at this guy while he lays in the middle of the street. And it says, a man who was carrying a knife has died after being shot by law enforcement in Hollywood, Los Angeles. He was taken to the hospital but did not recover his injuries. A witness who took a video of the incident says the man was unarmed. Police say they were responding to a report of an assault with a deadly weapon on Friday night. On arrival, they were met with an armed man, CBS Los Angeles reported, according to Detective Megan Aguilar. The man was carrying a knife. When he saw the officers, he approached them and an officer-involved shooting occurred, ABC reported. A witness speaking to Eyewitness News that she heard officers with guns yelling, "He's still got a knife." The suspect was critically injured and taken to the hospital, but later died. And Los Angeles Police Department spokesman said, police say they found a combination knife similar to a Swiss Army knife at the scene. Now, I think most people have seen those, a pocket knife. One woman said a man ran into a McDonald's shouting, "Police shot his friend," who sometimes liked to wave a knife to scare terrorists. Then it goes on. But Jordan White, who witnessed the incident and even shot a short video following the shooting, said on Twitter that the man was not armed. Police shot him at least 10 times. White added on Facebook, "Police just shot a man in the head 10 times for no reason right in front of me," he said. One local resident, Neil Barnett, said, "I heard 5 shots go off, and then all of a sudden I saw police run across, and they were pointing a gun at this guy that's laying on the ground." A number of tourists staying at a nearby hotel were stunned by what they saw. "We heard a couple of gunshots, and we ran to the window, and we just saw the cops standing there aiming their guns at the guy," the tourist said, which was reported by KTLA. No officers were injured during the incident. This latest incident comes in the wake of a number of high-profile cases involving law enforcement officers in the deaths of unarmed ethnic majorities. On Wednesday, a New York City grand jury decided not to indict white New York police officer Daniel Pantello. About Ed Garner. Then it goes into Garner's case. And then it just goes in through the riots and stuff. But I mean, every single day we have police killing American citizens. Black, whether they're black or of color, doesn't really matter. They're still killing, excuse me, unarmed citizens, and they are getting away with it.
That's what kills me, is that they're getting away with it.
Every time they get away with it, it's just encouraging more officers to go out there and kill if they want. They have tasers. They have billy clubs. With an army knife, you know, they couldn't have done anything but kill him, shoot him 10 times in the head.
Oh, boy. I guess you can't have your Swiss Army knife with you anymore.
I know. And they say it's just because, you know, it's being noticed more. Well, you know what? No, it's escalating. With them, how do they expect them to act when we're giving them all these military equipment that is made for killing people? That is the only purpose for these things that they're giving them. And so, of course, you know, and they're usually at fatigues anymore. It's wrong. And it's got to come to a stop. And like they say, they don't keep... we're so unimportant, they don't even keep statistics on the citizens killed by cops.
I thought the FBI released a bunch of stats on that recently.
They did, but they said that it's not complete, that they don't know, because, see, it's voluntary for the police to send them in. They don't have to. There's no requirement for them to send in details or anything about them. So it goes anywhere, you know, like one place I read 4,000 Americans killed last year.
Well, it sounds to me like even if they have these damn body cameras, that they're not going to do a damn bit of good because, they're going to what? Conveniently be off when the time comes.
Right, and that guy wasn't that wasn't a black man that was killed there. And this one here in Hollywood, I can't tell. They don't show a close up of the guy who's laying in the ground. But I mean, there's all these cops around this one guy, and I just couldn't believe it when I seen two officers with their guns still out, and then another officer comes over. He didn't even have his gun out. Then he pulls his gun out and he's pointing it down at the guy who hasn't moved. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, his spirit might rise up out of his dead body and attack him. I mean, they've got to, protect themselves from deadly danger.
Yeah, and it shows all these other cops standing around, and they don't have their guns out. And then all of a sudden, like on cue, they all put their guns away and walk over to the guy and move his arm, and it just falls down. But
they don't render aid, huh?
No, they did. Well, when I started watching it, you can look at the pictures here. It just shows him laying there on the ground with all these cops around in the middle of the street. You know, it's nuts. And, nobody's going to pay attention until it's somebody that they care about that's laying there in the street. And then it will all of a sudden become very important,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I'm so sick of seeing it. And then another one, New York Police Department cop who killed unarmed Brooklyn man texts union instead of calling for help.
Wait, what was that? He texted.
That's what it said. Yeah, New York cop who killed unarmed Brooklyn man text union instead of calling help. Now I think that's
weird.
Let me see. New York Police Department officer who recently shot and killed an unarmed African American man in Brooklyn did not immediately call for help or report the incident, choosing instead to text police union representative as victim died. Meanwhile, Brooklyn District Attorney Ken Thompson announced a grand jury will consider charges against officer responsible for the November shooting. According to a report by the New York Daily News, these details were revealed by unnamed law enforcement sources and paint a clear picture of what happened the night 28-year-old Aki Gurley was killed by rookie police Peter Lang in the stairwell of an apartment complex. Let's see. The report states that Lang, as well as his partner Sean Landau, did not respond to calls from the commanding officer or the emergency operator, both of whom were trying to reach them for more than 6.5 minutes after a neighbor called 911 to report a shooting. Since neither Lang nor Landau reported the incident immediately, police found out about the incident through the neighbor's call. Instead, Lang reportedly decided to text a union representative during that time. His text messages allegedly revealed that the officers did not even know the precise address of the building they were in. That's showing negligence, an anonymous police source told the Daily News, referring to texting decision. This guy is dying and you still haven't called it in. In a statement to BuzzFeed, however, the police union denied the report. The Daily News story about the officer texting union delegate does not appear to be true. We have over 400 delegates, but the ones that served the area he was working in did not receive any text from him. Notably, the officer was not even supposed to be inside the Pink Houses project when the shooting occurred. The Daily News reported Deputy Inspector Miguel Ingles had ordered them to maintain a street presence and only go as far as the lobby if they were to enter the buildings, source told the newspaper. Despite this, the officers were allegedly performing inspections on the stairways. With the news coming in the wake of grand jury deciding not to indict officers for the deaths of Staten Island Eric Garner, who died via chokehold by police, the teenager, okay, that part. Gurley, who was accompanied by his girlfriend, Melissa Butler, was shot once by Lang after the couple entered the staircase. The officers allegedly gave no warning before shooting Gurley in the chest, causing Butler to run to the neighbor on the fourth floor to make a 911 call. They didn't present themselves or nothing and shot him, Butler said to DNA Info New York. As soon as he came in, the police opened the door to the 8th floor staircase. They didn't identify themselves at all. They just shot. Butler also claims the police did not call the ambulance or come down the stairwell to help. A grand jury will now take up the case and consider charges against Lang, though no timetable for the decision has been set. I pledge to conduct a full and fair investigation and to give the grand jury all the information necessary to do their job, District Attorney Thompson said in a statement. The New York Police Department is also conducting an investigation into the killing. Commissioner Bill Bratton previously called Gurley innocent. What happened last night was a very unfortunate tragedy, he said last month. The deceased is totally innocent. He just happened to be in the hallway. He was not engaged in any criminal activity. So what, that makes it okay? You know, this is an everyday occurrence. Something's got to be done. I don't know what.
It's now the precedent has been set in pretty much every state in this union that the cops are going to be able to get away with this crap. So they're going to just keep doing it. You can bet your bottom dollar about that.
Until they kill some high official's son or daughter or something like that, you know?
That could be. That could be too. But
that is the only way it's going to get any real, you know, to make people sit up and make Congress or local police, something has to be done. And you know what, a lot of it is, and I read another article, it's the law enforcement's lobby, or what are they called? Their union.
Yeah, the union, yeah. Yeah, a lot of it's the union, a lot of it's the actual DA, a lot of it's the judges. I mean, they're making these decisions to prosecute or not prosecute these guys. And they're letting them go, and then they're just, you know, they think they're going to be, you know, they think they're going to be able to get away with murder, and they have been, you know.
There was this one I was reading. This officer shot one guy unarmed and killed him, and then was put back on the force after a while. And then he killed another guy in the back. He shot him in the back as he was running away, and the city had to pay out a $650,000 settlement. And then within 6 to 8 months, he appealed it through the union, and now he's back out on the street. They said out of, what was it?
See?
Out of 10 cases, 6 are back on the police force after appealing it, and the others were, their penalties were decreased.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, I mean, this guy killed 2 innocent people, and he's back out there on the streets after an appeal with the union.
Well, this is par for the course now, you know. It's ridiculous how ridiculous it is. I can't even. And it's just going to keep escalating whether they've got body cams or not. I mean, this is just.
Well, they'll just won't turn them on.
Right. Right, which is going.
And this other one, that one where they killed the guy in the corral.
Mm-hmm.
Now there were no witnesses. The body cam was on, and he says he found a pistol next to him, but. You know, they don't give out any information. Was the pistol fired, or was it even really there? You know, was the guy prone to carry a gun? They just draw their guns and shoot. What is all this about? You know, you got tasers, you got rubber bullets, you have your billy club. There's so many other options, but they always just pull the gun and shoot first, whether it's a child or an adult.
Yeah, they don't care. I mean, 5-year-old, you know, when a 5-year-old gets shot next for charging an officer, you know what I mean? Nothing's still going to change, you know, it's still all They're shoot first, ask questions later. That's the default position now.
You know, and right after that, what was it? The New York police chief, I think it was, that said that they're going to go in and re-examine their training and all. And I've seen a few articles where they say it used to be in their training how to de-escalate a problem.
Yes, verbal
now they're taught to
de-escalation.
be aggressive.
Verbal de-escalation is absolutely like the first and foremost part of the training. It's supposed to be, and I mean, I was told that by an actual SWAT cop that you have to do verbal de-escalation first before anything else, but cops just aren't doing that anymore.
Yeah. You know, and this one in New York, I mean, witnesses say the guy wasn't armed, and that they found, and the police are saying they found the army knife on the street, on the ground, you know, not in his hand or anything. So I don't know. It's just, you're gonna kill.
It couldn't have. It may not have been his. It may have been his. I mean,
could have flew out of his pocket, his jacket pocket, when he hit the ground. Who knows? But still, you know, an army.
It was folded up, right? I mean, it wasn't like
it was open. The picture of it on the ground was open. Oh. But look, an Army Navy knife. I mean, what's the blade? 3 inches, I think, at the most. They aren't like a.
Okay, now there was a cop that here in Detroit that was slashed in the face multiple times the other day, and he was like, I don't know, he was like a couple of weeks out of the academy, I guess, and he went toward this crazy lady who had a hidden blade, I guess, in her sleeve, and she sliced the crap out of this cop's face, and apparently now, as of like last night or yesterday, I guess the Detroit chief, James Craig, has come out and said that they're going to try and find some money to have these Detroit cops carry tasers around. And
they don't now?
No, they don't now. They can't. Are you kidding me? Detroit DPD can't freaking afford any of that crap.
And of course, we can't give them a money to do that. The federal government, they can give money for everything else. But,
well, I mean, Detroit just came out of bankruptcy, so it's really hard for fire departments to get stuff and police departments to get stuff. I mean, they're basically like cutting everybody's pensions here, so literally the local freaking news has to come up with a stunt to raise money for fire departments so that they can have a freaking couch in their place. You know what I mean? Or some beds for the poor guys to sleep on. The Detroit firefighters don't even have the equipment they need in their firehouses to properly like take care of their firefighters. So Detroit's pretty freaking broke. So I don't know how he's gonna get tasers for the department. I mean, it might help.
Well, the federal government gives them all kinds of other things, the tanks and
sure,
you know, all this. Why can't they give them that? You know,
well, I think he's working on that. So, I don't know, man. It's all.
I don't know. Would they use them? You know, these other cops have tasers on them, and they
don't use them. So, yeah, I mean, they have body cams on them. They don't use those either, obviously. So, I mean, it's. I don't even know if it will do any good or not. I mean,
it's a mentality that's got to change.
Tasers kill people too. How many people have we heard that, you know, tasers are, you know, stopping their hearts and stuff?
Yeah. You don't know if someone has a heart condition.
Tasers are definitely lethal in a lot of...
Well, especially when they taser you like 10, 15 times. You know, like they've done to some people. Yeah.
1,500 million volts going through your body.
And it's got to do a lot with the training and the hiring of vets coming back from Iraq with that PTSD.
Yeah,
and you know, them, and they've been over in war, and you get used to something. You get used to where you're killing people, and it's not a shock to you anymore. You know, you get desensitized to killing people, and then those are the guys they're putting on the police force too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then giving them tanks and everything to really put them back in that state of mind.
Yeah, well, that's the whole idea. That's the whole idea, especially if you're trying to put a police state in place, which is exactly what's going on. Yeah. And they're doing a great job of it. They really are.
Almost everywhere I looked, almost every heading this morning when I got up was about police killing somebody. So, you know, that's got to sink in. But I don't think it will. Not until some of high-up officials' kid gets killed by the cops. That will be the only time, I bet you anything.
Yeah.
When they don't know who it is and they killed somebody's, you know, a senator or you know, police chief.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Nope.
Shit. Don't. All right, well, I guess it didn't mean much. I can't remember. Darn. It was a good point, too. Oh, well.
Back to you probably at the wrong time.
Huh?
It'll come back to you probably at the wrong time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I don't know anymore. It's... welcome to the police state. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I heard, like, last week, that there was it was an interview that was on one of the big stations. I won't name it. I'm sure everybody can figure it out. But the guy was saying that you don't want cops having liability insurance because they won't respond because I might be liable if I respond. So liability insurance would not work. And I'm just like sitting here thinking to myself, well, you don't see doctors saying that they're not going to perform
surgery, right?
Out there because they might like do something wrong and therefore I might be liable, so I'm not going to perform the surgery. No, if the cops are supposed to carry out certain duties outlined in their duty roster or whatever, you know, when they sign on to be a cop, and they gotta carry on that stuff. So liability insurance would absolutely work in this, I think.
Really, it would. And besides, if they're not going to go on calls, then they get fired, and you hire someone that will.
Right.
Because that's right out there saying, well, if I can't use deadly force, then I'm not going out there.
And yeah, exactly. And a lot of the cops would just, that would hear that, liability insurance, well, I can't afford that. You know what I mean? That's basically going to be the go-to argument against that.
Well, people have to carry health insurance that they can't afford.
Right. That's true too, huh?
Yeah, and it would be each police department carrying their own insurance policies of which they would pay premiums. And you know what? If you guys all act right, your premiums don't go up. They just stay the same. It's like any other, business. And most businesses carry liability insurance.
Right. And if you take all the civil asset forfeitures, yeah, the departments will be able to afford that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's, the only way your premiums are going to go up is if there's a lot of police abuse in your department.
Mm-hmm.
So that
you're never going to get any of these. You're never going to get this idea solved. I mean, maybe in some local small towns that could be,
Well, that's where it's got to start.
I mean, seriously, you're not in a place like Detroit. Everybody's so damn broke. Even the cops are broke. I mean, you're just not going to get that idea to fly.
That where that person was from that did the article was Detroit?
What article?
I mean, well, what you said when you heard them say that they couldn't afford liability.
It was totally out of Detroit. I didn't even read the article or nothing, but Yeah, it was totally on the news yesterday. So
Yeah, that's a bad reference point, though. Go to a, place where they haven't gone bankrupt. I mean, they may be hurting, but still, something's got to be done to stop these cops from killing people.
well, I mean, it is, and it's the opposite of what we want to happen. So, I mean, something's being done. They're being let off the hook. Absolutely, something's being done. They want to. I think there's been some directive somewhere from on high that's come down and let the cops go. I mean, they've got to stir this hornet's nest here. That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, and then they can't even back up anything with statistics. I mean, we're so irrelevant that they won't even keep track of how many of them how many of us they kill. I mean, they keep statistics on everything. Yeah. I mean, everything, but not on how many people the police have killed, how many unarmed, innocent people. Look at all the drug raids of wrong house, and people are dead.
Yeah. There's still there was a little girl that was shot about 3, 4, 5 years ago now. It was a drug raid, but the drug house was on the second floor of this house.
Yeah, instead of
and they were actually filming a documentary film for this while this was going on as well, and the cops shot a little kid in the wrong door, the wrong apartment.
Mm-hmm. There was also this one of this retired doctor, him and his wife, and they broke into their house, and it was a wrong house drug raid, and caused them to have a heart attack right there on the spot and die.
Yeah.
I mean, why aren't they made to, make sure that they're at the right address, make sure. And a lot of these wrong address killings are because of informants giving bad information.
Damn informants. Don't get me started on informants, please. That's a hot button issue with me.
With anybody, the cops protect these guys when they go out and break the law and do all kinds of stuff, deal drugs and everything. The police protect these guys. They're okay. They have okay to go out and break the law as long as they give them some tidbit information once in a while. And a lot of them are paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to go out and just inform. They're not police.
Yup, absolutely.
I mean, and then when you go to court, if you do live through the raid, you go to court and you can't even face that person that went and told the police that. You can't face your accuser. Because you have to protect that informant.
Yeah, well. Oh, don't get me started on that. Because
it's just crazy. I don't know. It makes your head spin. But, this isn't just a coincidence where every single day we are seeing in the headlines that a citizen has been killed by police. I mean,
it's happening every day now. I'm getting totally sick of talking about all of it, but then something else happens, and something else happens, and something else happens. It's ridiculous. I mean, it seems like we're a broken record here, and we just keep talking about the same crap all the time.
As more people are killed, I mean, when I get up in the morning and every headline I see is on this subject, there's something wrong, terribly, terribly wrong in this country.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, we are absolutely we are in a police state. We're not going into it. We're here. It's already here.
War on the citizens here.
Mm-hmm.
Everything points to it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're poisoning us. They're injecting poisons into us and our babies.
Absolutely.
And they're spraying poisons from the sky. I mean, it sounds like a tinfoil hat, conversation because it's so unreal. It's hard for people to grasp it. Just everything that's being done to the people in this country.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And they're coming up with new ways of doing more to us, too, every day. You know? And we are the land of the free, home of the brave. Land of the free with the largest prison occupancy of any place in the world.
Well, let's see. I'm kind of looking around for more. Oh, jeez. Here's another one. Police kill unarmed man on his doorstep as he brought dinner to his family.
What? Where was that?
I don't know. Let's see. I'm just so tired of fucking talking about this shit.
But each one of these people are important enough that we need to talk about it.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so many. It's impossible to talk about all of them.
Yeah.
It says this one went this one went bad from the standpoint of how it ended, but the officer is doing exactly what we want him to do, Police Sergeant Crump said. Phoenix, Arizona, Tuesday night, so last week, guys. A 34-year-old Rumuni, God, I can't even pronounce this name. Rumian Brisbane was shot and killed by a police officer because the officer mistakenly thought he was carrying a gun.
And he was carrying a dinner?
Yeah, apparently he was. Remember when there was I don't know, some years ago, there was a guy carrying a hero sandwich that got shot too. The Phoenix Police Department has not yet revealed the name of the officer responsible for the murder, but the smear campaign by the media against the victim has already begun. Mm-hmm. According to police, the officers involved were investigating Brisbane because some neighbors allegedly told them that someone in an SUV was selling drugs in a nearby apartment complex. Oh my God. From the start, the story seems suspicious as police often use fabricated anonymous tips as a justification to search and harass people whom they are interested in profiling. The family also suggests that a false report may have been possible. Brisbane's family said he was simply going out to get dinner and he returned home with 2 McDonald's bags when he was attacked by police. The officers claimed that they approached Brisbane's SUV, and they say he seemed to be moving things around in his vehicle and moving things around in his pockets. How the fuck are they going to see that he's moving things around in his pocket?
You mean you can't have your hands in your pocket?
I mean, what the hell? Maybe he's digging for his freaking license? Hello?
Or the key to the door?
Shit. When police attempted to interrogate him, Brisbane reportedly fled into the apartment complex. The officer hunted him through the apartment complex and tackled him, wrestling the man into the doorway of his own apartment. In the scuffle, the officer shot and killed Brisbane in the doorway of his home in front of his girlfriend and their small children. Searching the man's body, police found the object in Brisbane's pocket was just a bottle of pills, and he was actually unarmed during the chase. When our officers lost his grip on the suspect's hands in close quarter with the suspect, our officer fired 2 rounds, striking the suspect in the torso with both rounds, ending the confrontation with the individual. Phoenix Police Sergeant Trent Crump said in a statement, when police went back, searched his SUV, they did find a legally owned firearm. However, Brisbane actually made the conscious decision to leave that gun behind, so it stands to reason he had no intent on hurting the officer. Obviously. Also found in the car was a small amount of marijuana, which was also legally licensed to possess under Arizona state law, and a friend of the family told the Free Thought Project this week. As for the bottle of pills in his pocket, the family says he could have been his family says that they could have been legally prescribed to him from a work-related injury. The police department has neglected to mention these facts to the media, but instead have introduced them to paint Brisbane as a criminal, suggesting that legally owned weapon and legally prescribed pills were evidence that the man was a drug dealer. Even if he was a drug dealer, which it seems that there is a very good chance he was not, the police should have do not have the right to take his life. Absolutely. All right.
That was in Arizona.
Yeah.
Man, and I mean, now you can't even go out and pick up dinner and go home, you know, and have your hand in your pocket. And then what did it say? The cop lost his grip on the guy, so he was close enough where he grabbed him, I guess.
Yeah.
And then pulled his gun and shot him.
Yep. That's pretty much it.
And, of course, they paint him as, oh, you know, you got to bring drugs into the fact that, you know, they found marijuana, but so he must have been a crazed marijuana user.
Oh, my God.
You know, the excuses they make up, and right there, you know, they only report, like, oh, he had found marijuana and pills on him, but they usually don't, you know, go out and say, but they were legally on him because he had a, you know, marijuana script and stuff. It's crazy. You're getting killed for obeying the law.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that very thing, I'm going to read a stupid-ass Bloomberg article. It says, law puts us all in the same danger as Eric Garner. It says, on the opening day of law school, how long is this first before I get into this? Whoa, it's really long. But this might, it's gonna go exactly where we're going here. It says, on the opening day of law school, I always counsel my first-year students never to support a law that they are not willing to kill to enforce. Usually they greet this advice with something between skepticism and puzzlement until I remind them that the police go armed to enforce the will of the state, and if you resist, they might kill you. This is some kind of a teacher. Yeah. University. I wish this caution were only theoretical, but it isn't. Whatever your view on the refusal of a New York grand jury to indict the police officer whose chokehold apparently led to the death of Eric Garner, it's useful to remember the crime that Garner is alleged to have committed. He wasn't even selling individual cigarettes or loosies in violation of New York law. We've kind of proven that he wasn't selling that. Well, Jules did anyway by her awesome article on Anti-Media Radio, or Anti-Media site, whatever.
Website.
Yeah, sorry. The obvious racial dynamics of the case, the police officer Daniel Polento was white, Garner was black. Dude, I don't even know if I want to even continue to read this because it's just this crap. But it says the problem is actually broader. It's not just the cigarette tax laws that can lead to the death of those who seek the police to arrest. It's every law. Libertarians argue that there are far too many laws, and the Garner case offers evidence that they are right. Oh, do you think? I often tell my students that there will be never a perfect technology of law enforcement, and therefore it's unavoidable that there will be situations where the police err on the side of too much violence rather than too little. Better training won't lead to perfection. The fewer laws would mean fewer opportunities for official violence to get out of hand. Let's see. The legal scholar Douglas Husak, in his excellent book, 2009 book, Over-Criminalization, the Limits and the Criminal Law, points out that federal law alone includes more than 3,000 crimes, fewer than half of which is found in the Federal Criminal Code. The rest are scattered through other statutes. Right, they pass laws and then they hide them in these damn statutes. A citizen who wants to abide by the law is no quick and easy way to find out what the law actually is, a violation of traditional principle that the state cannot punish without fair notice. Do you think? In addition to these statutes, he writes, an astonishing 300,000 or more federal regulations may be enforceable through criminal punishment in the in the discretion of an administrative agency. Nobody knows the number for sure. So that's crazy. HUSAC cites estimates of more than 70% of American adults have committed a crime that would lead to imprisonment. He quotes, and we always talk about that, he quotes the legal scholar William Stuntz to the effect that we are moving toward, quote, a world in which the law on the books makes everyone a felon. Does this seem too dramatic? Husak points to the studies suggesting that more than half the young people download music illegally from the internet, and that's a federal crime in almost 20. That's been a federal crime for almost 20 years. These kids, in theory, should all go to prison. Jeez. Many criminal laws hardly pass the giggle test. Husak takes us on a tour through bizarre statutes, including an Alabama law making it a crime to maim oneself for the purpose of gaining sympathy. There's a Florida law prohibiting displays of deformed animals. An Illinois law against, quote, damaging androgynous ammonia equipment. Okay. Oh, anhydrous, I'm sorry. Damaging anhydrous ammonia equipment. And there's a wonderful federal crime of disturbing mud in a cave on federal land.
What?
Yeah,
oh
be careful where you run and get out of the rain. Whether or not these laws are frequently enforced, Husak's concern is that they exist and potentially make felons of us all. Yeah, if it's on the books, guys, I mean, you're not going to know whether you disturb the mud or not, whether there's some cop going to come around the corner and freaking kill you.
Well, I mean, the only way that the government can control us is through crime. And so if they find areas where they can't control it, they'll make a law to make it a crime to do anything. The more crime they have, the more people they can arrest or kill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I want to keep...
Well, look at this. I would be watching headlines for more police killings in New York City because it says, New York Police Department cops warn militant group Black guerrilla family preparing to shoot on-duty and off-duty officers.
See, here we go.
Yep.
A black guerrilla group. I mean, this is what they went after the Hutari militia for. Look, they're going to go and kill cops in their homes. Ugh. And it wasn't true,
Yeah, it goes, an exclusive New York Police Department confidential informant learned of the threat on Friday evening, 3 days after a Staten Island grand jury decided not to indict Officer Daniel Panutella for the chokehold death of Eric Garner. Cop Union confirmed that the threat late Saturday and were ordering all police officers on duty and off duty to take extra precautions. Says a tattooed gang of militants declared open season on New York Police Department in the wake of Eric Garner's grand jury decision. According to the threat, a police union verified Saturday. 10 Black guerrilla family members are preparing to shoot on-duty police officers, Sergeant Benevolent Association President Ed Mullen said. The gang formed in the 1960s in the California prison system recently surfaced in the East Coast and Maryland, where members are at the heart of a drug trafficking and corruption probe within the Baltimore prison system. Members swear allegiance for life and sport BGF tattoos, as well as ink depicting a dragon surrounding a prison tower, according to the gang org. An undercover New York police cop learned of the hit put out on officers Friday evening, 3 days after that. Okay, it says, union leaders ordered all officers on duty and off to take extra precautions. Please wear your vest and carry your firearm off duty along with additional magazines, Mullen said in an alert. Your priority is to go home at the end of the tour. Mullins does not believe the threat is directly related to Garner's decision. I think it's related to the whole atmosphere, he said. Who knows if there's a lone wolf out there or a small group that wants to do something. So now we got, remember when they were after that one Donner officer, when they were shooting at anyone and everyone, including two ladies just delivering papers in a blue pickup truck?
That's that Dorner, yeah.
Well, now look we're going to have it again. These cops are going to be ready to shoot at any shadow that comes near them.
Yeah, they're scared shitless all the time. I mean, that does not sound like proper law enforcement to me. Make you hire guys that are scared of their own shadows. I mean, what the hell?
And then warning them, carry extra magazines and wear your vest, on and off duty, and be ready to kill whoever comes at you. Man. Wow. That's scary.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I've got a crazy one right now. Are you done with that one?
Okay. Yeah, I'm done. That was it.
Okay, hold on. Just give me a second. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm trying to stop these freaking little things from... Okay. Hang on. It says... Here, this kind of goes hand in hand with what I was just reading about. My freaking computer is like freezing up here. Oh, shit. Oh, man. Okay. It says, Texas lawmaker, are you ready for this? Here's more laws that they're trying to pass. More crazy laws. Texas lawmakers files a Pop-Tart gun bill.
A what?
A Pop-Tart gun bill.
From that kid who...
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay, this is out of Austin, guys. This is where Alex is. If you think it's a half-baked idea to legally protect kids' rights to play with their food, think again, says one Texas lawmaker. Oh, my God. This guy is a freaking moron. Representative Ryan... Oh, God, these things keep playing in my ears. Representative Ryan Gulian, Democrat, Rio Grande City, has filed a bill that would prohibit schools from punishing... Oh, I see. Has filed a bill that would prohibit schools from punishing students who use their hands, playthings, and yes, even pastry items to mimic firearms. Oh, okay. So I thought that was going to be the opposite. The proposed legislation would also protect students through the 5th grade who play with toy guns or possess pictures of guns. Oh, good. Well, that's good, actually.
Somebody with some common sense? Oh, my goodness.
A Democrat with some common sense? Wow. Julian said that he filed the bill after a 2nd grader in suburban Maryland was suspended for 2 days in March of 2013 for chewing his Pop-Tart into the shape of a gun. A similar situation has not arisen in Texas. Texas students shouldn't lose instruction time for holding gun-shaped Pop-Tart snacks at school. Okay, so obviously that's... But why in the hell does a freaking lawmaker... I'm not going to read the rest of it because it's all blah, 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 blah.
Why would you have to make a law?
Why would you have... Right. Why would you have to... As a lawmaker, why would you have to make a law about this? It just seems like a no-brainer that,
But yet it's happening.
Yeah,
it would seem like a no-brainer, but yet it is happening. So now we got to protect our children by making laws to restrain these professionals like a principal or a teacher from punishing a child for being a child.
Right. Well,
You shouldn't need a law.
right. You shouldn't need a law at all. And, I mean, I don't know. Unless, the whole goal is to teach them how to live in a police state, which is exactly what's going on. So, that's good.
So this probably won't pass, Something sensible doesn't pass.
It's ridiculous. I don't know, man. It's a school to prison pipeline, is what it is.
And they don't want them to miss the instruction on how to obey and be obedient, to laws and to the government.
Right, absolutely.
Might get it in their head to rebel against the government if you don't protect them from,
Sure.
their food. I don't know. It's nuts. Right when you think things have calmed down and stuff. Why is he doing this now after it's been a long time since one of these have been reported? Why wasn't he doing this when it was happening all across the country?
Right. It should have been. I mean, I don't know. Oh, man, I'll tell you right now. It absolutely, I mean, right, it should have stopped right then and there. With the suspension of that kid who chewed the thing to a Pop-Tart into a gun. It should have ended right there because it was so ludicrous.
Well, the little girl with the little bubble gum. Blue bubbles.
Yeah, the bubble gun too. Yeah, same thing.
There was a run on it after Sandy Hook.
And I think there was some kid who was suspended last week too. Like he was had his fingers out like that.
Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said, what was it? It's okay if you point your finger like looking like a gun at somebody as long as you don't go bang.
Right. Jeez.
And these are adults. These are professionals. They're supposed to be professionals that don't have the common sense enough to know little kids are going to play cops and robbers. Little kids don't watch the news. Most little kids didn't even know about Sandy Hook, but yet they're being punished for doing what children do.
Right. And Sandy Hook, as we all know.
Oh, yeah. I watched I watched a good video on that. And everyone should watch that video. I mean, they just blatantly...
What video is it?
Oh, man. I downloaded it. I'll find it and then find it on there again before they take it down, because this one, it showed, and it was all fact-based, and it just shows that didn't happen.
I definitely saw the films of them, going into the building and then coming out in a circle and then going back into the building and coming out in a circle and going back in. What the hell is that?
That was one, but I mean, there's so much more. Like the kids that got dropped off at that guy's house, and then it's found that guy is an actor. And then, while he was supposed to be with the children, it shows him at the school.
Yeah, there's so many anomalies going on there. It's just ridiculous.
This was the best. The name of the video is "We Need to Talk About Sandy Hook," and it's on YouTube. But it was the most fact-based thing I've ever watched. It really went into detail in all these things. Like, there was no DNA found of the mother or the shooters at her house where she was supposedly killed. And then they found DNA on a shell that was still inside the gun. And how did our blood splatter? How did that happen inside the gun and not even been shot yet? There was just one after the other. It's an excellent video, and everyone should watch it, I think. It's a long video. It took, what was it? A little over 2 hours.
Whoa, that's a long one.
Yeah, but you know what? As it kept going, you keep getting more and more involved, and it's so well put together, and it goes into every aspect of it. It's just crazy, and all of a sudden after the shooting, the people whose kids got killed and stuff sold their property for $1 and we're gone.
Really? $1,
Yeah.
huh?
Yep. It shows, and then when the house. Wait, what was it? One, I think something about the house where the mother was killed. You would think all the police would be there at that house. All the police and all the investigators and stuff were at the house next door.
What?
And no one was at that house, right? Yeah, it brings out, and they got pictures of it and everything.
Yeah, that's some weird shit right there.
Yep. And
there's some definite weird satanic. That's a satanic community, and
is there really?
Oh yeah, there was like this weird like secular church that was behind Sandy Hook or some crap. I don't know, some kind of Masonic thing, and there's just so much crap that went on there. It's not even funny. There was a lot of insiders that were playing along with this charade.
Oh yeah, and you know, I downloaded all the radio calls that happened that day, and you listen to those, and it is just insanity. Those people didn't know what they were doing or where they were going.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's not good. I even know somebody who lived there, like right up the street from the school, and she actually went to a few of the funerals, and she saw open caskets with the kids in it. So, I mean, I don't know if it's some really, really incredible elaborate hoax that even fooled her, because she's like us and is a thinker.
Yeah, that friend of JJ's.
Yeah, it's Kathy. She's a friend of mine too. And
yeah.
She literally insists to this day that it was real and something went down there. Something did go down there.
Or were the bodies even from there? You know, you don't know. But
no,
I
we don't know.
This video it's like 9/11. It brings out so many facts that don't work. The times are off, and you know the room where he supposedly killed those kids, no blood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and things that the media never covered. I'd be surprised if the video stays up very long. I downloaded it right away, but I don't know. I think everyone should look at it because, well, it brings up enough questions.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And why did they bulldoze that school down?
Yeah, well, obviously to hide some. You know what I mean? They're definitely gonna bulldoze that sucker down.
Yeah.
Gotta hide
just like they took all the evidence of 9/11 and blew it out.
That's right. And the same with Oklahoma City. Same shit.
Oh, a noble lie. Everyone should see a noble lie.
Oh yeah, I've got it right here in my video collection.
Yep, they really show a lot, and they talk to people. And why were all the feds told not to show up for work that day?
And they happen to be like already dressed in full fucking gear, like 2 blocks from the
right. And like that one lady said, like the ATF, whenever they came into the building, you never knew because they always looked like hippies or you know, long-haired people and stuff. And that day, they all ended up showing up there in their full uniforms. Yeah,
right. That's how it
happened.
And
you know, you knew in a way. I mean, look, they did it 1 year after Waco and I know why, because after Waco, even here in my small town, the militias started growing exponentially.
Yeah, here too.
Having big meetings and stuff. So they had to do something. And I'll tell you, after Oklahoma, all the people, it just died.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was because of oh, here we go. Captain Gringo is putting something in the chat for me, and I don't know what it is. Let's see. I'm not sure. Whoa. It says, okay. Thank you, Captain. Anyway, dude, I don't even know what the hell we were talking about. We're just talking about Oklahoma City
about
Yeah,
how the militias all of a
yeah.
sudden, they were getting too strong. They had to do
It,
something.
as soon as all that crap, yeah, they had it, and it was. Notice how it was specifically like focused here in Michigan too, and Terry Nichols is still in prison for it, and
Right.
you know what I mean. And he didn't have nothing to do with any of this crap, and still doesn't. But he's the fall guy. And just after that happened, everybody in this militia movement here kind of went under the rug, under the carpet, and
Yep.
they've kind of basically stayed there. It kind of resurged a little bit before, like, the Hutari got messed with. And now after that Hutari thing happened, now they've kind of, everybody is scattered back underneath the rug.
Yeah, and the government, because they keep track of that, and they were watching this buildup of citizens getting together because none of them believed what happened at Waco was right, and so that was a way to stop them, and it did it. All they had to do was say McVeigh was involved with the militia, and boom.
Yeah, that was it. When it's very well known that every freaking militia that guy tried to join, and they kicked him out because he was talking all this bullshit.
Yeah. And the building alone, I mean, it took off that whole side of the building, and the bombs that they said they used could not have done that kind of damage. They just couldn't have.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. There's,
That just goes to prove the government, they will kill children, they will kill innocents, anything to keep their evil ways hidden.
Well, they want to further the agenda of the police state, and that's what 9/11 was about. That's what everything, all of this stuff is. It's pretty much right par for the course. It's going right as scheduled. Everything is right on schedule, and and next they're going to ramp everything up with Russia. All this nuke stuff. They're starting to say that watch out for nuclear war with Russia. They're starting to ramp those fears up again. They're starting to ramp up all kinds of crap with Russia. Cyber attacks and God knows what else. Meanwhile, Putin is, doing close flybys, all over the place in Europe and in the United States, right up in Alaska and the Gulf of Mexico. So,
and then it says here, America's military, a force adrift, how the nation is failing today's troops and veterans, and it's a worsening morale.
Oh, yeah, go ahead and read that, because that's something that we really should be touching on right now.
Yeah, after 13 years of war, troops feel burned out and without a sense of mission, more doubt that their leaders and their job security. For many of the war-weary troops who deployed to combat zones over and over again for 13 years, the end of an era of war in Iraq and Afghanistan is good news. But for Marine Sergeant Zach Cantu and other service members, it's total morale killer. For many of them, particularly the young grunts and others in combat arms specialties, it's the realization that they may never go into battle for their country and their comrades. Most people in the Marine Corps are in because of the war, said the 25-year-old Cantu, a former infantryman at Camp Pendleton, California. Cantu has retrained as a telephone system and computer repair, especially more likely to survive as the service downsizes. Now everyone's coming to the realization it's probably not going to happen for me, he said. The wars against America's enemies gave troops like Cantu a noble purpose. Their training had focus. Their sacrifices were appreciated by the largely grateful nation. That gratitude was reflected from the White House to the citizen in the street, all of whom heaped praise upon military members for their service. Congress lavished generous pay increases and expanded benefits on them while spending deeply to provide the gear and weapons they needed. Recruits raced to grow the size of the services, and society vowed to never again undervalue the 1% of the country who stepped forward to keep them safe. Today, however, that gratitude seems to be dwindling. The services have weathered several years of deep cuts in funding, and tens of thousands of troops have been unceremoniously given the boot. Many still in uniform and seeking to retire from the military fear the same fate as those cuts are not yet complete. A military Times survey of 2,300 active duty troops found morale indicators on the decline in nearly every aspect of military life. Troops report significantly low overall job satisfaction, diminished respect for their superiors, and a declining interest in re-enlistment now compared to just 5 years ago. Today's service members say they feel underpaid, under-equipped, and underappreciated, the survey data show. After 13 years of war, the all-voluntary military is entering an area fraught with uncertainty and a growing sense that the force has been left adrift. One trend to emerge from the annual Military Times survey is that the mission mattered more to the military than to the civilians, said Peter Fever, a political science professor at Duke University who studies the military. For the civilian world, it might have been easier to psychologically move on and say, well, we are cutting our losses. But the military feels very differently. Those losses have names and faces attached to them. So, yeah, and it's true. You know, at first, oh, everybody, you're a hero and all, you're going over there to protect our freedoms. But when it became apparent that they weren't over there to protect our freedoms, that they were over there just for the people to make money off of them, I think that has a lot to do with it, too. And citizens are tired of their money going into paying for these wars.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's, you know, if you're constantly 13 freaking years in war, war weariness absolutely sets in, as well as the multiple tours these poor guys have to keep going back and back to these freaking war zones that we created.
Mm-hmm. And they're finding that a lot of them are questioning, why did we go there? What purpose did we go there for? I mean, a lot of them signed up because of 9/11. They thought they were going to be going and fighting the ones that they thought blew the towers down. But then we ended up in Iraq that had nothing to do with 9/11. You know, and so disillusioned, and then the way the veterans are treated here, not getting taken care of, you know, for their medical problems.
Right, absolutely. They come back home and then they can't even see a doctor. You know, it's by design that this is happening. And wow. I'm telling you, it's people, these poor guys are, as soon as they find out they've been lied to, and it doesn't take them long to figure it out once they get over there. You know, it's, God, wow. I guess, did you hear that somebody else got killed and they sent the Navy SEALs in to try and rescue this new hostage, and then they killed the hostage anyway with a gun.
Right. And this just came across. Massive downtown LA fire burns 3 towers. Freeways begin to reopen.
What?
Yeah, it just went to the top of Drudge.
Wow.
A massive fire in downtown Los Angeles early Monday engulfed an apartment tower under construction, damaged 2 other buildings, and left freeways and roads closed. The northbound 110, that's one of the biggest freeways down there, freeway remained closed as of 5 a.m., but Caltrans reopened the 101 freeway and the southbound. Caltrans says it hopes to reopen the 110 north by 8 a.m. More than 250 firefighters battled the blaze at an apartment tower under construction in the 900 block of Fremont Avenue, Los Angeles. The building contained was 1.3 million square feet of floor space, and officials said 2/3 of it was consumed in flames. Firefighters used the 110 freeway to get up equipment to fight the blaze. There's a video there. I wish we could play videos. I'll put the link in the chat room. So if anyone's down in LA, boy, it looks really bad. Let me see. External damage from radiant heat while fire damaged several floors of a 16-story office tower. Fire department spokesman Jamie Moore told the Times the office tower sustained fire and sprinkler water damage. Large windows gave under the amount of heat, Moore said, adding sprinklers activated of 6 floors. There was active fires on 3 floors, but I guess it was before business hours, so I don't see where it says if anyone was hurt. It looks like it's mostly just structural damage.
Gee.
Wow, that's a big fire.
That's huge.
Yeah, I'm scanning over to see, and it doesn't look like complexes have been part of a revitalization of downtown, though the critics have complained about the design and size of the buildings. Yeah, was hurt.
Well, that's interesting. There's people bitching about the design and the size of them.
Experience urban style, elegance, and European living in the heart of downtown LA. Oh, you got to be kidding me!
Like brownstone type stuff.
The Da Vinci, the newest member of the Renaissance collection, will offer 15 unique floors plans to match your lifestyle. Oh, so it was with a full-size basketball court, physical fitness facility, lounge, library, theater, and business center.
Wait, what is that? What burned down?
That's what's burning. Yeah. So yeah, that doesn't fit in with LA. I mean, if you've ever been to LA,
no, I've never. I don't think I ever want to either. I don't even think I ever want to visit there, man. No way.
I know, it's weird. Well, I've lived here in California all my life, and there are some nice things in LA, but it's not, it's not like New York. New York, I think everyone should visit New York once in their life.
I've never done that either.
Oh, I loved it. I mean, I would never want to live there. You couldn't pay me to live there. But when I was there that 3 weeks, I mean, there's so much, there's off-Broadway, and there's a lot of culture there and things, the Empire State Building and Ellis Island. And, I think a lot of what we became, it started there. So, it's interesting, but LA, I don't know. We got Disneyland and these other things, Universals, but it's not, I don't know. I wouldn't pay to go there.
I've been to Chicago. That's really fun. Chicago's really awesome.
Yeah. I like the transit system in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even need a car there.
It's just, yeah, exactly. My favorite part is Lake Michigan. I just love Lake Michigan. And it's pretty amazing that there's a giant city at the end of that lake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like Champaign, Illinois is where I stayed when I was there. And they have brick roads and all through the community. There's quite a few universities there. But it's just the neatest little place. It's you think of, Chicago and the hustle and bustle, and then you go to this little town right outside Chicago that's really cool. It's like going back in time.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Yup, absolutely.
Anyway, that fire's going on. If you have to go to work on the 110, well, turn around and go back because you're not going to...
Turn around right now.
Yep. Wow.
Crazy. Wow, we're giving LA traffic alerts now.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah, and I don't know where LA's getting the money to build these kind of buildings, but anyway, well, they're burning down.
Yeah, and if it doesn't work out too well, oh, look, it's burning to the ground.
Yeah, just collect your insurance and go elsewhere.
Insurance. Yeah, be like, friggin' Larry Silverstein.
Yeah, wouldn't it be funny if you found out he was owning that?
I think he owns the I believe he owns the Sears Tower, or not the Sears Tower. What's it called? It's not. It used to be the old Sears Tower. It's called something else now. I think he owns that building too in Chicago.
Yeah, I still don't understand how he won all three. He put them out there as three separate happenings and got insurance paid on all three of them.
All three of them.
And right before that, he got insurance covering terrorists.
I know, so come on. Does anybody see like a freaking conflict of interest? But nobody talks about that. I mean,
Tower 7 comes down, wasn't hit by a plane.
Yeah, it's that all in itself like points the finger at the guilty right there. Just that fact alone.
The fact that he said, and they decided to pull it, like if they could set up a demolition in just a couple hours. It takes months to get one of these set up.
They can't set it up in a couple of hours. It was already there. I mean, William Rodriguez said that there was guys coming in for 2 freaking years shutting down whole floors. You know what I mean?
Yep, for security. They were redoing the security and people were in and out of there, but that wasn't said on the news. They didn't tell about them shutting down floors and telling the businesses there to transfer their funds somewhere else while this was going on. And it was 3 weeks before the date that it happened.
God,
and
they talked about 9/11 like maybe a handful of times, like the whole time that I've ever been on the show.
Oh man, there is so much. I
know there's so much. It's crazy.
And and all these architectures, professionals are saying to reopen it. Now, they have thousands of them saying this needs to be reopened and relooked at because we have evidence that it's not what they said it was, and they will not do it. How do you bring it out when you have all these professionals that this is their job, their livelihood? They know building and the fact that the Pentagon only had 13-foot hole. Why can't we get this brought back up? What does it take?
It's the same reason why we can't bring up Oklahoma. It's the same reason why we can't bring up Waco anymore. It's the same reason for all these things. Because the same assholes that are involved with all of them are the ones keeping it shut.
Yeah, I wonder what it takes. What, do we have to go to the White House to open an investigation, or can you go to a senator to open it? I don't know the
You know how many senators and congressmen have been approached over this issue? A ton of them.
Well, yeah, what's his name? He got district out. What was his name? It started with a K.
Dennis Kucinich.
Yeah, he tried, and they just forced him out.
Yeah, they forced him right out, exactly. And he was getting ready to bring up some good stuff. And all that impeachment of George Bush, yeah. And every single one of his points were completely valid.
Yep. And they pushed him right. They just removed his district. And boom, he's gone. Yeah. But I listened to his whole, what was it? It was almost 3 hours of evidence to impeach Bush. I got that video.
It was
and I
wonderful.
watched it.
I heard a lot of that too, and I'm just like going, yeah, after every time he says it. Man, and they've got a list of impeachment on Obama too, like that's longer than it was for Bushy. So
I know, and I don't understand why even the ones who don't want Obama in there say don't go through impeachment, but yet they would impeach Clinton for an affair.
Getting his dick sucked.
Yeah.
Impeachable offense. Come on.
Going to war, taking us to war on a lie, and then passing laws where American citizens can be arrested and no trial. That's not impeachable.
If you're running guns and drugs to and from Mexico, that's not impeachable either, I guess.
It's crazy. And when is criminal Eric Holder ever going to leave?
I know, dude. I was saying that the other day. I'm just like going, it's like he's he's just not going away, and he's still calling shots. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, okay, I thought that you had resigned.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm wondering after he's resigned, okay, he's not protected by government anymore. I wonder if they can charge him with
they can
fast
still
and
charge
furious.
him, absolutely. These crimes are like huge. They can still charge us. These kind of crimes that he committed, they don't have a statutory limit. You know what I mean? These
Yeah,
are
and
like
right.
high
Yeah.
crimes and freaking like it's not misdemeanors. It's like pretty much high crimes and you're guilty type shit.
So when he leaves, he won't have the protection of government. I'm wondering if they will file on him. They should. I don't see no reason not to.
It's exactly, I think, what the stall tactic here we see right now is going on.
I don't know, but that wouldn't make sense either because even if he stalls, he already said he's resigning. So he will. He says he'll leave as soon as they have another person, and I think they have someone. They just need to get them approved.
Well, they
But
have to wait for the new. I think. Well, wait a second. They don't have to wait for the new
no,
Congress.
no,
It appears to me that they're waiting for the new Congress. I don't know what that's about either.
I don't know why that would matter because he's going to be a civilian then, and I'm hoping somebody just jumps on it and puts out an indictment for him and it gets him in jail.
No one's going to do that. They're all just, none of these people are ever going to be held accountable. I mean, the Bush regime, those guys are still running around pulling the same old crap, funding the corporations that they're a part of, I mean,
They're all still in office.
they're all still running around doing, I mean, they're going to continue to do this. And we're all just going to be silently subjugated as a result.
That would be a big thing to get people more together if they would, convict Holder and put him in prison. That would be a big step for the people, but you're probably right. They probably won't do anything. He'll go back to his town.
He's going to go back to doing the same shit he was doing before he was appointed to this position. So, or some corporation or look at freaking Michael Devil-ass Chertoff. That fucker's got a freaking security corporation under his belt. I mean, this is all what they're gonna do. I mean, if you play ball with them, they're gonna reward you with a big ass fucking corporate contract.
Right, and what do you think? I mean, I would think that he would have stayed throughout Obama's full term. Do you think he's being pushed out for some reason?
Well, look at what he did. I mean, they've got to hide him and try to protect him now. He's he's going to go under the criminals, the criminal witness protection program that they have for their inside butt buddies. You know what I mean?
But it seems like, he would stay until Obama was out because he's protected there. But he's leaving before Obama's term's up. That just doesn't.
Well, like I said,
fit.
He's going into their little circle of their own little witness butt buddy protection circles. You know what I mean? He's still going to be protected. He did exactly what they wanted him to do. He has acted in their best interest, and he did a good job for them. So he'll be protected still, even if he leaves office. He has to get out of the public limelight right now. And
too many people. They're probing for
more
information.
Sure, it's exactly like Dick Cheney. I mean, the whole damn thing. I mean, they got out at the right time. Obama, it's the whole thing is a damn dog and pony show.
I'd like to force Bush and Cheney onto a plane going to one of these countries that are going to prosecute.
All of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's right.
Sure, all of these stinking devils. And that's what they are.
Chertoff, man, he reminds me of a evil skeleton.
That's what his name means, the devil.
Oh yeah,
means the devil in Russian.
Wow. That the same names come up over and over ever since Bush was president, or even before then, really.
Well, and here we go. We're going to go see. here we go, la da da. We're gonna see another Bush Clinton runoff. I mean, they're pushing this. They're pushing Hillary like mad. It was kind of
I
funny.
know. I can't believe anyone would vote for that.
If you were listening to Shali's show on Sunday, boy, he read an article about it, but he gave his awesome Shali spin on it, and it was just hilarious the way he was reading the story. I mean,
really? Was it about all the murders around her?
No, it was about, well, no, he interjected that on his own. You know what I mean? He was reading the story and then interjected the Shali comments in there, but it was funny the way he did it. But no, it was some gushing, putrefied article about how we're going to glorify Hillary Clinton and watch out 2016. Here she comes. You know what I mean?
People have such short memories.
Man.
I mean, did she ever accomplish anything when she was senator? Anything?
Murder.
Well, yeah, I meant other than murder.
And rape of, like, little girls in a shower. You know what I mean?
And Benghazi,
I mean, that was after she was a senator.
But still, you know, I mean, and how do these first ladies of the country always end up, like, they're even saying Michelle's thinking about running here in California. Oh, my God.
That'd be funny as hell. Oh, my God.
I don't think so. She'll have us all eating carrots while she goes out and eats lobster.
Well, hopefully it's freaking Fukushima lobster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh, jeez. And they thinking about moving here? Oh, God. I'm glad I live in Northern California.
Man, I don't know. It's the march of the women if Hillary gets in. I mean,
you know, a lot of it, too. A lot of women are up for office and stuff. Why all of a sudden?
The Feinstein will find her way back in. Pelosi will find her way back in. Well, Feinstein's never going to leave. I mean,
I don't think Pelosi is either.
Oh, God, it just makes
And they're running
uncontested? What the hell is the matter with the opposition? Come on.
And Napolitano, she's supposed to be, they were thinking of putting her in Holder's
she'll
place.
come back. Yeah, she'll come back. That would be a nightmare scenario. Manet is Attorney General. Oh, my God. That would be way worse than Holder.
Yeah, and now she's already gone to the universities and has them all doing DARPA projects. I think that was her purpose here.
Yeah, it was. Absolutely. I'm glad you thought about that because that's, oh my God.
And we're paying for her $450,000 home that she's living in here.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, absolutely. $450,000.
Yep. I mean, that did not make no sense. The woman has nothing, no prior dealings with education at all. And boom, she's in charge of all the colleges.
Okay. Now, I saw this on TV. It was a quick blurb because it was football and I tend to like turn off of that, but then I swear to God, it was this new college football. They're going to have playoffs now, and there is a committee that's going to oversee these playoffs, and Condoleezza Rice is on this football committee.
Oh my God.
On a football committee.
What in that? You gotta be kidding me.
No, she's really actively involved. It showed her with her nasty gaping mouth that was open. She was talking or whatever the fuck it was. And she's on this collegiate football committee because they're going to introduce playoffs so that they can extend the college season and drain more money from the American public. But can of greasy rice is sitting there right on the... It's like, that can't be government motivated, is it?
And the tuition in California has tripled this year.
So that just struck me as
that's crazy. I mean, these people that are being put in positions that they have no experience
What does Can of Greasy Rice know about football? College football. Maybe she's a big fan. I don't know. But
Oh, we know she's a big liar. I mean, she just lied right there in front of Congress.
Exactly. How do we know she's lying when her lips are moving?
Yeah.
So, good luck in the collegiate sector with her. I don't know.
You know, what got me was her testimony when she said, well, none of us could have ever imagined airplanes being hijacked and ran into buildings when they meant, she just said it right before then, that, you know, they were running drills for that very thing. I mean, come on, lady, in the same sentence you're lying.
I know. Sounds a little bit like Hillary Clinton and Benghazi testimony.
Yeah.
Or the Lois Lerner testimony, or, you know what I mean? It's just that she got away with it, you know, and, well, actually it was Bill Clinton before her, but, I mean, come on, it's just, actually, before that, it was freaking the Iran-Contra, and then before that, you know,
was Oliver North.
I mean, it's been going on and going on and going on like this.
And people got to get it through their heads. It don't matter if it's a Republican or a Democrat in office. They all do the same thing.
I mean, when's the boot going to come down as far as the American people standing up? I don't fucking see it.
No, I think we're going to fall. I do anymore. I really, no matter what comes out, people just won't get, you know, they don't get angry. And
I know, it's everybody's drinking the fluoride and they're complacent. All right, let me hit on this last thing. I just want to, since we're only at 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes left, I'm just going to change gears here. Police chief, it says, if you know gun enthusiasts, turn them in. Police need to vet them.
What?
Yeah, this was from a couple days ago. It says, well, this didn't take long. Days after Larry McWilliams shot up buildings in Austin, Texas, police chief Art of Esfido warned the Austin community to turn into police friends and neighbors who harbor extreme views and who are gun enthusiasts. Oh my God. How come Alex Jones isn't like freaking the fuck out about this? Esfido discussed the recent shooting and claimed that what keeps him up at night is the prospect of, quote, homegrown terrorists like McWilliams who harbor anger and have access to firearms. Quote, and that's why it's important for us as Americans to know our neighbors, know our families, tell somebody.
Tell on your family?
Yeah, if you know somebody that is acting with a lot of hatred towards any particular group, especially if it's somebody you know is a gun enthusiast or is armed with these type of firearms and they're showing any kind of propensity for hatred, it doesn't mean we're going to take them to jail, but we might want to vet these people. Holy sheep shit.
Wow. Say something.
To have a cop think this way is really dangerous. It says everybody wants to help to stop violence and mass killings, but what Esfido, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, Esfido demonstrates is shocking and anti-American sentiment. Our civil rights are not to blame for violence. We should not feel compelled to inform on our neighbors like a modern-day Stasi. What Esfido highlights as suspicious behavior is carefully tailored to target those who enjoy their Second Amendment rights. Many patriots are justifiably angry about the direction the nation is heading. Many of these same patriots arm themselves with a variety of weapons, as is their right to do so. These beliefs and actions should not subject them to enhanced scrutiny from authorities or friends and family, and any such assertion by a law enforcement agent is both insulting and opposed to our rights as Americans. I believe that's the end of that. So that's
crazy. They're not going to give up until they get everyone's guns, and then it's over.
I had to bring that up. I absolutely had to bring that up because I don't understand why Alex isn't like screaming from the freaking rooftops about this.
He might be. I don't know. I haven't watched the show in a while.
It's my computer's completely froze.
Oh, well, perfect timing.
Timing.
Oh, Monday morning. Jeez.
It's almost over.
It's just amazing what's going on, and no one seems to notice.
So they're going to keep pushing this idea, and remember what Criminal Eric Holder said: we have to get the Americans used to the idea that guns are bad. So, just like
yeah, except for the ones that he gives to Mexico.
Yeah, except for the ones he gives. But don't look at that. Don't. And the ATF wasn't involved in that. No, don't look at that.
And like, what was it he said when they said there was no accountability? Oh, well, titles were changed.
Yeah.
And people were moved. Yeah, that's accountability. You change their title.
Well, shit, give them promotions.
Yep. Probably he didn't mention that it was a promotion. It probably was.
Absolutely. Anybody who, that's absolutely right. Anybody who helps them in their police state endeavor to, take over the country is promoted and paid handsomely for their efforts. Believe me.
Have you heard anything else? Any further motion on Obama and his exec? That kind of died out.
Yeah, actually, it was. There's only like 2 minutes left, so. Of
course, it made up now. Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe I'll. If you remind me, I'll talk about it.
Yeah, because I haven't heard any more about it. It's like,
Jerome Dorsey said that he didn't even sign that freaking executive order.
Yeah, I think there was just because he even said itself. He couldn't do it. It was against the Constitution. So it
wasn't about like making the illegal safe at all. It was about exploratory committees to explore the idea. That's what the executive order he signed. He didn't. It was in the media, was complicit in this whole thing as well. So people are thinking that they're free and clear out there as far as being illegal if you've been here for a long time. No, you're not.
Well, the media is compliant with whatever they want, so it's all been, figured out to do just this, get their hopes up, and then,
and just what Jules said the other day, bring them out of the shadows. So that's what's going on. And they called him out. I mean, we heard the clip here. So, all right, guys. Well, it's Monday.
World injecting poor brown-skinned people.
I don't know what the hell that is.
What is that?
Don't know.
Well, or perhaps a job like a job as a farmer, growing genetically.
There it is. I don't know either. We'll be back for hanging, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Tonight. Tonight for that. That's my memory. Everybody have a great day. See you guys back tomorrow.